Today I'm going to be painting a landscape. A client of mine sent over some reference material of a farmhouse on some land they just purchased and wanted me to paint it, so let's go. Let's start off by doing what I always do and just put out and use only primary colors and white. Sometimes I use black, not very often for landscapes, however. Lately I've only been using a couple brushes, and those consist of a medium-sized filbert brush and a small round brush. I always go top to bottom when painting a landscape, not that it's necessarily right, but it works for me. So start with the sky and work my way down to the rolling hill and trees, remembering to keep this background and the trees a lighter tone. Now just work quickly, no need to worry about much at this stage, just lay in tonal values of similar colors to your reference. Try to get the composition correct and lay in the placement of where your subjects or objects should be within the piece. Use thinner paint on this first level and just get the canvas covered as much as possible. The next layer is where things will start to take shape. Try to stay loose here, no need to restrict your brush strokes. Remember to have fun, it's only a painting and we can fix mistakes later. Branches are very sporadic, so no need to place exactly like the reference material, just make sure the main structures like the tree's trunk and its longer, thicker branches look the same. These trees in the background are going to be painted almost in an impressionistic style, no detail, because the human eye would not be able to see detail from this distance. Lay in your main structure like a house, add a little detail but not much because this is also at a distance. For a tree to look real, I think the best thing to do is add a lot of branches. Most trees have plenty. This takes some time, but you must be patient when you are trying to get a more realistic look. Place highlights and shading in different places to give the tree somewhat of a three-dimensional look. Just use the lighter or darker tone of the same color you used for the rest of the object. When painting in the foreground with grass, just use different tones of green to make the ground to appear uneven, not perfect. Most of the time the things in the foreground will appear darker, so use darker tones as you work your way forward. The bottom of the painting is the part that would be closest to the viewer, so you can use thicker paint here. It will help give the saturation needed. I had to go back and put more background trees here. Just remember lighter tones for the trees and objects further away. It's difficult to get such thin lines for these smaller branches. Time and experience will help you through this, figuring out how thin the paint needs to be and how much water to use. Now just keep adding branches, lots and lots of branches. Now it's time for all those finishing touches. Just remember you can add more details to things in the front, use highlights and shading where necessary, and don't forget all those leaves on the ground. No need for too much detail on the leaves. I suggest do a dark tone first and then hit with a highlight. Don't make anything uniform while placing leaves, they fall anywhere and everywhere. Put some highlights here on the top of the bars on this gate, giving the impression that light is bouncing off the metal. Adding some taller grass in some spot, just make sure to use a natural flow, giving different directions and length to the blades. Scrub this out slightly, though you don't want it to stand out to the viewer, but instead be an afterthought or something they caught by chance. Adding some little highlighted branches back here as if the sunlight snuck through to strike them. These leaves will appear to be closer together when further away, unless there is an accumulation of them in a certain spot. Just like the branches, there are plenty of them. I mean, they did come from those branches. This takes time, but it will be worth it and give your painting a more interesting vibe. The leaves will be bigger as you come forward, but they still don't need detail. Leaves are so small that you don't see much detail in them unless you are holding them in your hand. Some of this driveway here was dry and some wet. Just try making some of it dark and some of it lighter. Standing water will reflect light and sometimes be about the color of the sky. A lot of times, even when things look really dark, they aren't black. They are maybe a dark brown or purple, so be careful because black is not so natural. That's about it, guys. I hope you found some value in this video, and if you did, hit like, subscribe to my channel, and maybe go ahead and watch another video. One will pop up at the end here. Thanks for watching, and until next time.